Hello race fans, welcome back to Imola for the 2024 Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We're here on Saturday for what is no doubt going to be a thrilling qualifying session around a track where mistakes are punished very harshly. So let's head to the track and see what our racers can do. Here's your practice report for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso puts up some stonking lap times in practice 1, 3/100ths behind the defending champion Valtteri Bottas, and he repeats his performance in P2 again in practice 2. However, Keita Watanabe struggling on Friday. However, first session on Saturday, while it did get rained out at the end of the session, Keita Watanabe got the upper hand on Fernando Alonso this time around, third to Alonso's 12th, and Lance Stroll putting up some impressive times in his new McLaren seat. The setup that Toyota is running will be a wet setup, as rain is expected again for the race weekend. However, news from the weekend, Ikeda Oil re-signed a sponsorship deal with Toyota Racing to be the team's official fuel supplier for the season, so they can continue to develop their engine fuel and their powertrain together. Toyota HQ also puts in a new simulator, a high state-of-the-art simulator, and new engine power and fuel efficiency upgrades, along with upgrades to the front nose structure, which propel Toyota to second overall in the pecking order in terms of performance. And as we mentioned previously, no rain on Saturday, but rain for Sunday's race, and it's always a wet one around Imola over the last 2 years. Around the first Ravazza, and just Ravazza 2 we go. Watanabe is charging his TF113 through every corner, crosses the line, third overall. And on his second run, he's getting impeded by Esteban Ocon in the Aston Martin. He's going to try and go around Ocon into Aqua Minerale we go. And he just barely manages to get ahead of Ocon. His time already ruined, and just to return the favor, he gives the place back to Ocon on track. Another lap time. Third lap for Watanabe. Crosses the line. It's a better lap. And it puts him up the second overall, a 10th behind Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes seat. Remember, Keita Watanabe won a thriller of a race last time out in 2023. Fernando Alonso down in P9. Esteban Ocon, though, out again. Through Aqua Minerale we go. Keita Watanabe goes, he loses the back end through the exit of the curve, and he loses the car, and that's ruined his run and possibly ruined his tires. He's trying to spin it back on the track, but it's an Aston Martin car barreling through Aqua Minerale. And how has Watanabe managed to get out of the way of that Aston Martin in time? But that's ruined his lap again. He's way up on his lap time, but he hadn't set a good one. He's improved on his lap. 7/10 up, but he goes wide through the gravel. He threw out of Ravazza 2. He's lost a 10th through this lap. He's lost down 2/10, crosses the line, and he doesn't make it through. P11 for Keita Watanabe. Fernando Alonso in the top 3. And how while this would be strategic pole position in a dry race, while everyone will be starting on the wet tires, Watanabe's advantage is gone. The rain is pouring. It's a wet race. It may be cold and uncomfortable, but it won't stop the Tifosi from coming out in droves to this historic venue here for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We're at Imola, a historic venue here in Italy. And let's see what the first of 2 races in Italy can deliver on this wet Sunday. Here we go to the track map, and it's an anti-clockwise circuit, one of the few on the calendar. So our drivers will be facing new technical challenges along with challenging corners such as Aqua Minerale, the Variante Tamburello, which will be treacherous in these wet conditions with the spray that these Formula 1 cars generate. Let's see what the drivers can do in these torrential conditions. And here we are into the starting grid for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix and Keita Watanabe. Remember last time out, he did an audacious strategy by starting on the intermediates rather than the wets, and it really paid off after a lap. However, with the rain being way heavier than it was last time out, every driver, including Watanabe, will be starting on the wet compound tires. The rain is set to lighten up towards the end of the race, but it is just circumstance at this moment. We won't know for sure until we get the race started. So let's get this race started by showing you your starting grid. Valtteri Bottas gets pole position and Lewis Hamilton on P2. It's a Mercedes front row lockout. What can they do in Ferrari's home turf? Then it's Fernando Alonso, 3rd overall for Toyota, Lando Norris 4th, Verstappen 5th, our race winner last time out, alongside Charles Leclerc 6th, Gasly 7th, Perez 8th, Stroll 9th, and Keita Watanabe gets promoted to 10th. Then it's Antonio Giovinazzi 11th, Lundgaard 12th, Callum Ilott 13th, and Sebastian Vettel in 14th, with George Russell 15th, and Carlos Sainz down the order in 16th place with grid penalties. Then it's Esteban Ocon, Nicholas Latifi 17th and 18th, 19th to Tsunoda, 20th to Sato, Zhou Guanyu 21st, and Nikita Mazepin at the back of our grid. Let's see what our drivers can do. Can they handle the wet? Let's see and wait to find out in this wet race. 5 red lights. The drivers will have a tentative start off the line. What can they do on this wet track on wet tires, cold tires? This lights out and it's a tentative start. Valtteri Bottas though gets ahead of both Mercedes, but Fernando Alonso gets a great start off the line, as is Keita Watanabe, alongside Lance Stroll, charging down towards the Variante Tamburello, but he's going to go careful on the brakes as there's a Red Bull and a red AlphaTauri wall up ahead of him. He manages to push Stroll wide, but Stroll fights back. He squeezes him out through towards the Variante Villeneuve, and here we go. Watanabe and Lance Stroll side by side. Watanabe squeezes them out, but goes onto the gravel. Watanabe misjudges the wet conditions, and this is what happens when drivers don't have any wet tire running. Watanabe into Tosa we go. He tries to get by Antonio Giovinazzi, but Giovinazzi throws the switch back on him, and the AlphaTauri, the hometown favorite, Antonio Giovinazzi's up at the P9, but Watanabe sends it through Piratella, and he manages just to get his Toyota ahead, and Watanabe, all this work for one place. Let's look at the replay. You can see from, this is Lance Stroll, through the Variant to Villeneuve chicane, and you can see just how wrong Watanabe gets it. It's expert car control from the Toyota driver to manage to keep the car straight when traveling, especially on gravel, on wet tires. And you can see from Antonio Giovinazzi's perspective, Watanabe just goes way too deep into Tosa. And Giovinazzi seems to have the drive and the run, but the drivers, they're being a little hesitant because, again, they don't know the braking points in the wet. But Watanabe just dives down, goes a little audacious through Piratella. And here's Fernando Alonso having another incredible start this season. And this time around, he doesn't accidentally barge into the driver he's racing alongside. He gets a great start. He's challenging his old teammate at McLaren in 2007, Lewis Hamilton, into Tamburello, squeezes him onto the sausage curve. And that is some incredible racing from an incredibly veteran driver. Closing up to Perez, and Watanabe loses the back end. He drifts the car through Ravazza 2, and that was an incredible car control from Watanabe to not spin it around, but that might just leave him vulnerable to the advance of Antonio Giovinazzi, propelled by the power of the Tifosi. He may not be Ferrari, but Italian rages through his blood, but Watanabe defends the corner into Tamburello, and he keeps Giovinazzi behind him for now, and that is an expert defense from Watanabe. Watanabe heading towards the Variante Villeneuve. He's going to try and see if he can get it. He barrels over the sausage curb and he goes into the gravel again. Another mistake from Watanabe. And after showing some amazing wet weather driving last time out at Imola last year, he's struggling. But through Tosa, he disrupts Antonio Giovinazzi's momentum. And the Italian driver will not like that one bit, as surely that's disrupted all the momentum he had going into the corner. He's going to have to regain it all. Is that Watanabe going slow? That's a Toyota. Yes, that is Watanabe. And that's an engine failure. Remember, last time out in the beginning half of the season, reliability plagued Toyota. They brought a new engine concept for this season, and it seems to have failed them yet again. Let's look at the replay. It's going to be hard to tell if it's the engine that's smoking or if it's spray coming from the car. Through the corner, you can see it slow down, but it doesn't look like there's any smoke coming from the engine, so it looks like it's a gearbox problem, which, I mean, take solace in that the gearbox is not really essential to performance. But, that being said, it is going to be extremely frustrating for Watanabe, who was hoping to have put reliability behind him after the woes from last season that stopped him from making it a good driver's championship. But here we go, Valtteri Bottas. He takes a commanding win and adds a win potentially to a title defense for the Flying Finn. Lewis Hamilton takes P2 on the grid, but Fernando Alonso gets another podium to his name. He got a podium last time out in Australia, and he re-gets a podium, the first for Toyota in this 2024 season. Lando Norris, Max Verstappen down in 5th, and that's going to put Valtteri Bottas ahead of him in the championship standings, 9 points ahead of the the Flying Dutchman. Fernando Alonso up to 4th, Keita Watanabe though down to 6th, and Toyota still 3rd, with McLaren and Ferrari passing Alpine after their tremendous opening round with Callum Ilott behind the wheel. It's been an exceptionally wet race in Imola, but Toyota will be looking to fight back. But their podium suggests that perhaps there is some pace in this car that could propel them past the Silver Arrows. So we head to Portimao for the Portuguese Grand Prix next time out, and hopefully you'll join us then. But for now, that's it from us. Goodbye.